Hey there, adventurers! Welcome back to the Jack and Eleanor series. Before we dive into today's thrilling episode, we have a quick favor to ask. We've noticed that most of you watching aren't subscribed yet. In fact, only 10% of our viewers have hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying our content and want to see more epic adventures with Jack and Eleanor, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you like what you see, don't forget to smash that like button and leave us a comment below. Your support helps us create more of the content you love. We love hearing from you. Tell us your favorite moments, share your theories, and let us know what you want to see next. Your engagement means the world to us and helps our community grow. So, hit like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get ready to jump into another spine-chilling adventure with Jack and Eleanor. Thanks for being part of our journey. Now, let's get started. Chapter 1, Echoes of the Past. The journey back from the Ozarks had left Eleanor Hawthorne and Jack Lawrence weary but resolute. Their recent encounters with cryptids and supernatural forces had only strengthened their bond and sharpened their resolve to uncover the unknown. They felt an unspoken connection to the mysteries they pursued, as if some unseen hand guided them toward each new adventure. As they unpacked their gear and settled into the cozy warmth of Eleanor's home, a sense of normalcy began to creep back into their lives. However, this brief respite was shattered by the arrival of an unexpected visitor, a raven, jet black and imposing, perched on the windowsill with a black envelope clutched in its beak. Eleanor cautiously approached, her heart pounding with anticipation. She took the envelope, noting the crimson wax seal stamped with an unfamiliar sigil. Jack watched intently as she broke the seal and unfolded the letter within. The elegant cursive script read, Asterisk, Ms. Eleanor Hawthorne and Mr. Jack Lawrence, asterisk. You are cordially invited to a gathering at Blackwood Manor. Your presence is requested to witness a ceremony of great significance. Midnight, on the eve of the new moon. Morgana, High Priestess of the Blackwood Coven. Jack exchanged a glance with Eleanor, his brow furrowed in concern. This sounds like a trap, he said. Eleanor nodded, but there was a spark of determination in her eyes. It might be, but we can't ignore it. There's something about this place that feels important. We have to go. The drive to Blackwood Manor was eerie, the narrow road winding through dense forests that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. The trees closed in around them, their twisted branches casting long shadows in the pale moonlight. Eleanor's fingers tightened on the steering wheel, her mind racing with thoughts of what awaited them. As they approached the manor, a thick mist descended, obscuring the path and casting ghostly silhouettes that seemed to move with a life of their own. The manor itself loomed ahead, its once grand facade now a haunting silhouette against the night sky. Vines crawled up the walls, and broken windows stared out like empty eyes. Eleanor and Jack stepped out of the car, their breath visible in the cold night air. They walked up the crumbling stone steps and pushed open the heavy wooden doors, which groaned in protest. The interior was dimly lit by flickering candles, casting dancing shadows on the walls. They were greeted by Morgana, the enigmatic leader of the Blackwood Coven. Her presence was as captivating as it was unsettling, her eyes gleaming with an ancient wisdom and hidden malice. She wore a flowing black gown that clung to her lithe frame, her raven hair cascading over her shoulders like a waterfall of darkness. Her beauty was otherworldly, her features sharp and ethereal, and her smile was both inviting and dangerous. Welcome to Blackwood Manor, Morgana said, her voice smooth and commanding. We have been expecting you. Eleanor's heart raced as they followed Morgana deeper into the manor, the sense of foreboding growing with each step. Chapter 2, The Seduction. Morgana led them to a lavish sitting room adorned with antique furniture and heavy drapes that seemed to absorb the light. She gestured for them to sit and offered them a drink, her movements graceful and deliberate. As they settled into the plush chairs, Morgana's eyes lingered on Jack, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "You have a unique aura, Jack," Morgana purred, her voice like velvet. "It's rare to find someone so attuned to the supernatural. You must have many stories to tell." Jack felt a strange pull towards Morgana, her presence both intoxicating and unsettling. He glanced at Eleanor, who seemed uneasy, but he couldn't deny the allure of Morgana's attention. "We've had our share of adventures," he replied cautiously. Morgana leaned closer, her scent a mix of exotic spices and something darker. "I can sense that there's more to you, Jack. A strength, a power that you've yet to fully realize. Here, at Blackwood Manor, we can help you unlock that potential." Eleanor's unease grew as she watched Morgana's seductive approach. She could see the way Morgana's eyes seemed to shimmer, almost hypnotic, as she spoke to Jack. "What do you want from us?" Eleanor asked, her voice tense. Morgana's smile widened, her gaze never leaving Jack. "I merely wish to show you the truth of your heritage, Eleanor. And as for you, Jack, I see a kindred spirit. Someone who craves knowledge and power. Stay with us, and I promise you will find what you seek." Jack's heart raced, caught between the desire for the truth and the dangerous allure of Morgana's words. He felt a strange compulsion to agree, but Eleanor's presence grounded him. He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. "We'll see," he said, his voice uncertain. Chapter 3: The Gathering. The Grand Hall of Blackwood Manor was a place of dark grandeur. Tall windows, cracked and covered in grime, allowed slivers of moonlight to pierce the gloom. Candles flickered on every surface, their flames dancing in the drafts that whispered through the room. The walls were adorned with faded tapestries depicting scenes of rituals and ancient ceremonies. Eleanor and Jack were led to the center of the hall, where an ornate altar stood, draped in black velvet. Around it, the coven members had gathered, forming a circle. Their faces were obscured by hoods, and they moved with a synchronized grace that spoke of years of practice. The air was thick with tension, and the weight of unseen eyes pressed down on them. As Eleanor scanned the room, her gaze locked onto a familiar face, Amora. She was an old friend who had vanished years ago under mysterious circumstances. Seeing her now, dressed in the garb of the coven, was a shock that sent a jolt of emotion through Eleanor. Amora's expression was unreadable, but there was a flicker of recognition in her eyes. Morgana stepped forward, raising her arms in a commanding gesture. "Tonight, we gather to honor the ancient traditions and to welcome our guests," she intoned. Her voice resonated with power, and the room seemed to vibrate with her words. "Eleanor Hawthorne, Jack Lawrence, you are here to witness the power of the Blackwood Coven and to learn of your true heritage." Eleanor's pulse quickened. "Our heritage," she echoed, her voice barely a whisper. Morgana nodded, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Yes, Eleanor. You are descended from a long line of witches, once part of this very coven. Your ancestors broke away to pursue a different path of magic, but their legacy lives on within you." The revelation hit Eleanor like a tidal wave. She had always felt different, drawn to the supernatural in ways she couldn't explain. Now, it all made sense. She glanced at Jack, who gave her a reassuring nod. As the ritual began, the coven members chanted in an ancient language, their voices blending into a haunting melody. The air grew thick with a palpable energy, and Eleanor felt a strange warmth spread through her body. Visions flashed before her eyes, sacrifices made in the name of dark magic, spirits bound to the coven's will, and the true nature of Blackwood's power. The visions grew more intense, revealing the hidden secrets of the manor. She saw her ancestors, their faces lined with determination and sorrow, breaking away from the coven to forge their own path. She saw the rituals they performed, the magic they wielded, and the sacrifices they made to protect their descendants. Chapter 4: Revelations. Amidst the chaotic visions, Eleanor uncovered a shocking truth: she was descended from a long line of witches. Her ancestors had once been part of the Blackwood Coven but had broken away to pursue a different path of magic. This revelation shook Eleanor to her core, altering her perception of herself and her abilities. As the chanting reached a crescendo, Morgana stepped forward, her eyes fixed on Eleanor. "You are powerful, Eleanor. More powerful than you realize. Join us, and you will learn to harness that power. Together, we can achieve greatness." Eleanor's heart raced as she considered the offer. The allure of learning more about her abilities was strong, but the darkness that clung to the coven was impossible to ignore. She glanced at Jack, who shook his head subtly, his expression filled with concern. "No," Eleanor said firmly, her voice steady. "I won't be part of this." Morgana's eyes flashed with anger, but she quickly regained her composure. "Very well," she said, her voice cold. "But know this, you cannot escape your destiny. The power within you will either be your salvation or your doom." As Morgana's words hung in the air, Eleanor felt a surge of defiance. She would not be controlled by the coven or her newfound heritage. She would forge her own path, just as her ancestors had. Chapter 5: The Battle of Wills. The tension in the room was palpable as the coven members closed in, their intentions clear. Eleanor and Jack braced themselves, ready to fight if necessary. But before anyone could make a move, a figure emerged from the shadows: Evelyn, Eleanor's estranged grandmother and former member of the Blackwood Coven. Evelyn's presence was commanding, her silver hair flowing like a halo around her head. She raised her hand, and the coven members halted, their eyes wide with surprise. "Enough," she said, her voice filled with authority. "This has gone far enough." Morgana glared at Evelyn, her anger barely contained. "You have no right to interfere, Evelyn. You abandoned the coven long ago." Evelyn's gaze was steely. "I left because I saw the darkness that was consuming you. But I have not abandoned my family. Eleanor is my granddaughter, and I will not allow her to be used for your twisted purposes." Eleanor felt a surge of gratitude and relief at Evelyn's words. She had always wondered about her grandmother, and now she understood why Evelyn had stayed away. She had been protecting Eleanor from afar, waiting for the right moment to intervene. With Evelyn's guidance, Eleanor tapped into her newfound power. The room crackled with energy as she and Evelyn joined forces, their magic intertwining and amplifying. Jack stood by their side, ready to defend them if needed. Morgana, fueled by desperation and dark magic, unleashed a torrent of spells that threatened to overwhelm them. The air was filled with the sound of crackling energy and the scent of burning incense. But Eleanor, drawing strength from her lineage and the support of her allies, stood her ground. Chapter 6: The Climactic Battle. The final confrontation took place in the heart of Blackwood Manor, where the Coven's power was strongest. The room seemed to warp and twist as the battle raged on, the walls pulsating with dark energy. Morgana's spells were relentless, each one more powerful than the last. Eleanor, with Evelyn's guidance, channeled a powerful counterspell that began to unravel Morgana's enchantments. The manor itself seemed to react, its very foundations trembling as the ancient spirits were freed from their bondage. The air was filled with the cries of the spirits, their anguish echoing through the halls. Amora, torn between loyalty to the Coven and her friendship with Eleanor, made a fateful decision. She stepped forward, joining Eleanor and Evelyn, her magic adding to their strength. Together, they formed a triad of power that pushed back against Morgana's darkness. Morgana's eyes widened in fury and desperation. She unleashed her most powerful spell, a dark vortex of energy that threatened to consume everything in its path. But Eleanor, Evelyn, and Amora stood firm, their combined magic creating a barrier that deflected the attack. With a final, powerful incantation, Eleanor and her allies banished Morgana's dark energy, breaking the hold she had over the manor and the coven. The room was filled with a blinding light as the spirits were released, their gratitude palpable. Morgana, weakened and defeated, fell to her knees. "You may have won this battle," she spat, "but the war is far from over." Eleanor stepped forward, her voice strong and resolute. "We will be ready." Chapter 7, A New Beginning. In the aftermath of the battle, the manor seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The oppressive darkness lifted, and the spirits that had been bound to the coven were finally at peace. Eleanor, Jack, Evelyn, and Amora stood together, united by their shared victory and newfound understanding. Eleanor felt a deep sense of pride and purpose. She had discovered her heritage and embraced her power, but she knew that this was just the beginning. There were still mysteries to uncover, and dark forces to confront. But with her family and friends by her side, she was ready for whatever came next. As they left Blackwood Manor, Eleanor glanced back one last time. The manor, once a symbol of darkness and corruption, now stood as a testament to the power of light and resilience. She knew that their journey was far from over, but she was confident that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. Together, they would forge a new path, one that honored the past while embracing the future. And no matter what came their way, they would face it as a united front, bound by their shared experiences and unbreakable bonds.